So I just told my co-founder, hey man, instead of going, let's just quit our jobs. We just learn this by ourselves. So I quit my job. I still remember the resignation letter I wrote. And then we moved into now my co-founder's bedroom. And we said, okay, now we'll figure out what we'll do. And I quit, say, on a Thursday. On Friday, I'd already moved my desk from home to Kurya's bedroom, and we were like ready to go. So even when I was quitting, the director and the firm I was working for was like, you'll be back a year later. It's okay, I'll still give you a chance. I was like, no, I'm not coming back. So far we've been able to scale Chpter to over 4,200 businesses in Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria. I'd say Nigeria is our second largest market after Kenya. So one of the great testimonials we've had have come from customers like Kicks Kenya. Kicks Kenya is one of the largest sneaker stores in Kenya. So they've been able to see almost a 30x return on their investment by using WhatsApp as a marketing channel.
So Mark, welcome.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I'm excited to speak to you, and excited for other people to get to know you as well. It feels like I've got to know you, especially like in this short amount of time.
Yeah.
It almost feels like we've known each other now for like
Quite
a
some
while.
time.
Yeah. But yeah, at least to kick things off, just like tell us a bit about like your background and your early childhood, and we can go from there.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, thank you for having me, Tim. Quite a pleasure. Like you say, it's like we've known each other for some time now. We really enjoy our conversation. But yeah, my name is Mark Kiarie. I'm a co-founder, CEO at Chpter. So background and history. So I'd say I'm an entrepreneur now. I didn't think entrepreneurship was something I wanted to pursue when I was young, but it's really, really grown on me, and I don't see myself doing anything else. Actually, I usually joke, I think I have probably like 5 or 6 businesses in me that I like to try and start. But born and raised here in Nairobi, Kenya. My mom was an entrepreneur. She has a fashion business. She's been running it till today. So a lot of early childhood memories are us asking her for money and her telling us, I'll see if I'll get it today, right? Which is quite different if you look at maybe if she came from a corporate background, then, money comes in at the end of the month. So I grew up knowing that you can sort of like get money every day if you have a business, so which was quite interesting. I think it really shaped us. Now, looking back, yeah, so I grew up here in Nairobi. I went to Mangu High School. It's one of the more prestigious schools here in Kenya, public though, which it was a really big deal going there. A lot of my network now is actually mostly from high school compared to university, funny enough. Yeah, so I graduated from high school, went on to University of Nairobi to study architecture. I don't know how I ended up there. My first, my calling for a long time was to become a doctor, but I missed the cutoff points by like 0.02 something. So, and then my next selection was architecture. So I got called for medicine, but in another university called Egerton, which is I think in Nakuru. And I was like, I don't want to go there. So I was like, let me do 1 semester of architecture because I've been called for it anyway. And then the next semester I'll transfer. So in that semester, I just realized, damn, I'm actually really good at this. And then I was like, I don't know why I wanted to become a doctor. I realized I don't like it as much. So I just proceeded on with architecture. I did quite well. I started working when I was in my second year, got my first job. It's quite an exciting story. I think I mentioned it to you. Also had got another job when I was in my third year. All these were like really big firms in Kenya. And by fourth year, I was working for the largest architectural firm in Africa called Builders&Backers and Partners. And also I got a first class honors when I was finishing arch school. With those results, I was able to go to Italy to pursue another course there on resilient architecture. And it was that time when I was starting to see, okay, maybe I'm really good at architecture, but it's not really what I want to do all the time. Given that by this point I'd have worked for probably 4 to 5 years.
Oh, that's interesting. And you said that you now have that entrepreneurial bug to like think about like 6 or so different businesses in you. Did you have this bug early in life or something like that? We're starting small businesses.
Interesting. I think actually it wasn't there. Because I think when I was young, I really wanted to become a doctor. I really, really wanted to become a doctor. Actually, I was considering doing that degree in the US. But then I think in the US, medicine and law, you can only do it as postgrad. So I resorted to just doing it here. I think it was just part of like God's plan. But imagine, funny enough, it wasn't there. But I'd say when I was in university, I started reading on all this, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, Evan Spiegel and Snapchat, Brian Chesky and Airbnb. And I was like, damn, these guys have like started companies that have become so huge and they built it by themselves. So we actually did our first try on a startup when I was in second year. And it was a marketplace, more like what Glovo is today, where people can be able to put in the products that they sell. They don't need to build a website, and we'll be able to do the marketing, the payments, and delivery for them. So we built this. It was called Easy with my friends, but it didn't take off. All of us just ended up going in different directions after uni. So one person went to Australia, another one to the US, I went on to Italy. So it just didn't take off. But like in the course of building that, I think that's where the entrepreneurial spark like was really, really born.
And were they like sort of like these other businesses that you started like soon after that, or did Chpter become the next chapter?
Interesting. I'd say after that, did I try out any other businesses? No. After that, I think that was the first main business I tried to do. After that, immediately after that is when I really started getting interested in tech, right? Because I could see, okay, like, wow, all these companies that are scaling and becoming really big are tech companies. And I saw that the only way your business can be used or can provide value to like millions of people worldwide is if you build it, if it's a technology business. So, but then I was like, damn, I'm in architecture. How will I build a technology business? I don't know how to code. I don't have any computer science friends, at least who I went to campus with. So we formed Chpter, but then I tried to recruit my friends from high school to build it with me. But of course, they're like, they had their own interests. So some of them were joining Microsoft, Batianpeak. So it was really hard to have them just come and do this project with me. Also, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. But what I resorted to doing was I said, okay, let me move over from architecture to another field. I knew we wanted to build a fintech. So what I said was, okay, let me go and learn finance. And then my co-founder, Kuria, he can build the tech. So in 2020, right before we even graduated now for architecture, I applied to London School of Economics and got in to do a finance major, right? And my plan was, okay, let me go do finance so we can learn how to build a fintech, right? And we can learn how finance works, etc. Architecture is a very... become a finance pro, exactly. Architecture is a very creative discourse. You learn a lot of problem solving, design thinking, but you're really limited on, I think, the left side of your brain, which is more analytical, etc. So I was like, let me go do finance. So I got in, and class was meant to start in August, right? But then, you remember 2020, there was this, disease, flu that was coming that wasn't ending. So March, you're like, okay, COVID is here. Is it going to stay? So the class just kept on getting postponed. Eventually, it was postponed indefinitely. So I just told my co-founder, hey, man, instead of going, let's just quit our jobs. We just learn this by ourselves. And what I could see at the time, of course, no one knew how long COVID was going to last, but it felt like the world was going asleep for some time, and it was a really good time to transition into something else. So you could emerge out of COVID like a new person. So I quit my job. I still remember the resignation letter I wrote. And then we moved into now my co-founder's bedroom. And we said, okay, now we'll figure out what we'll do. We'd already incorporated Chpter, but we didn't know what we will do. But we said, okay, we'll just figure it out. And I quit, say, on a Thursday. On Friday, I'd already moved my desk from home to Kurier's bedroom, and we were like ready to go.
Oh, wow. And what was that process like? Because you had said that you guys were wondering what you sort of do next. I know that it's not also easy to like quit your job and then go to pursue entrepreneurship. At least before that, what was maybe like your family's reaction or your friends' reaction from that?
Yeah, I think most guys were really shocked. Yeah, my folks were, of course, really shocked. Like, you have a really good job. I had a really good offer. I was earning well. And all this, I was still in school and doing all this, right? So, yeah, just got in a car. So, it's just like going, like life is moving since 2020. At the time, I think I was 24. Yeah, 24. So I was like, things were going well. Like, there was no need to do this. But then they were really shocked when I said I'll quit, and then I'm going to do this thing called tech. I don't even know how to code. I don't know how to code. And the funny thing with tech or like building, it's like, building sometimes never ends. You can build for a year. So many times, like, my folks would ask me, like, hey, how is that thing going? Are you done? We're like, we're not done yet. It's like 6 months later. If you're doing a project, like if you're building a house, someone can see the progress. Yes. But now it's like, guys are wondering, like, what are you doing? So even our classmates, because I'd performed really well in school, they were like, you are the last person I ever thought, like, who would not become an architect. You know what I mean? So even when I was quitting, the director and the firm I was working for was like, you'll be back a year later. It's okay. I'll still give you a chance. I was like, no, I'm not coming back. But it was pretty hard, but I had a lot of conviction. I think the other thing I told myself was, it's good to start young. So if things don't work out well, I can still start again. Because also what I noticed was, the longer you stay in a particular field, especially if it's in corporate, nothing wrong with corporate, but like the longer you stay there, the more shackled you'll become. So for instance, like you stay there 2 years, you get used to the pay, you get used to the lifestyle. That's the network you have. So it's harder. It's always harder to leave. So I was like, let me just leave now so that I don't even taste how this other life will be like for me. So that was one of my motivations. And we were excited. We used to do 16-hour days. So our day would be, and you asked, we didn't know what to do. We used to do 16-hour days. So half the day is figuring out what are we going to do. The other half is figuring out how we're going to build it. So we chose a problem which was close to architecture or the built environment, just because that's where we are from. So we noticed that many projects usually stall because they don't have enough financing. So if you drive around Nairobi, you'll see like buildings which have been desolate and incomplete for like years, right? So we noticed that they stall because probably they didn't get enough financing from the bank. And we noticed that almost 90% of projects that are usually done will require some sort of financing. So if team has money, if you have even, say, 1 billion shillings, you won't use your entire 1 billion shillings to build. It's not wise. So you'll probably use like 200 million and finance the 80% from the bank, right? But then you notice now, when the bank doesn't come through with that financing, now the project stalls. So you're like, what if we can build a software that enables a bank to see which projects will do well or not? So for instance, like, what will be the payback period for if all these houses are going to be bought? What will be the payback period if all these houses are going to be rented? for different locations, what's the occupancy rate, what's the demand, etc., so that the person making the decision on whether to finance a project or not is more equipped. Because the challenge was maybe you're a developer, you're an expert in real estate, but the person who's going to approve the financing knows nothing about real estate. So it may get rejected, yet it's a project which has a lot of potential. So we built a tool that now enables banks to do scenario analysis, financial forecasting on projects, and see how much this project should get in terms of financing. And when you continue doing that, you noticed this problem is not just for the built environment alone. Even normal businesses, you could be running an agriculture business or a manufacturing business, say for, maybe like sandals. You know how much money you need, what the offtake will be in the market, etc. But the person who's going to give you financing doesn't know all that, right? So we found a way to now have the business provide audited accounts for 3 years. And then we can do like scenario analysis, financial forecasting. We use like a discounted cash flow method to say, okay, by year 3, this is how this business is going to do. Year 5, year 6, so this is how much you can give them. So now that's the product, the first product we ended up building. Took us almost 9 months to get the MVP out.
Oh, wow. And how was that process? I'm assuming you had to talk to banks. You had to probably pitch to them this thing that was not yet existent. How was that sort of process? And I think probably at that time, maybe even, fintech and stuff was not necessarily out there, and technology solutions. So how was it during that period?
Yeah, it was a grueling process. Like we hadn't realized, of course, when the idea was crystallized, we were like, I will be millionaires in a year, which of course, like didn't happen in a year. It took way longer than that. So it was a really hard process. So like it means for like a year, we were basically earning no money. So you're coming from this job to like zero. And then the second thing is like, okay, it's uncharted waters. So we didn't know how to code. So we had to teach ourselves how to code. We didn't know finance, all these discounted cash flows, all these things. So I had to learn those things as well. So like during the day, we would like sort of like learn and like code at night. So what we did, because we were good at design, we'd create screens on Adobe XD and Figma saying this thing works. So you just create a prototype. Like you can even use it, do it on PowerPoint. So you put the buy button, you put the login button, and then we would go to like banks and tell them, okay, this is what we have. We just haven't like shipped it live yet. And then we use that to get feedback. So they would say like, hey, this here is not working well. Oh yeah, this is correct. Yeah, try to improve this, all these things. So we started iterating on their feedback even before we had a live product. So when you get the feedback, we go home. Now we make the login work. Next time we go show them the login works, and then now we take them back to the prototype with the changes that they told us. So we did that until eventually we actually had a working version. So even now we learned how to code is like we just started, okay, we need to learn how to help someone log in. That works, okay? We need to make a dashboard where you can navigate to different tabs. Now maybe that's another month. Then we're like, okay, now we need a way for someone to import data from an Excel. We learn that. We need now to slice the data, parse it, and classify it in different. We learn that. So that's how we ended up building it eventually. But on the sales side, the cycles were really slow. Of course, banks are like, you guys are like 20-something. You didn't even do finance. So it took us a long time to make the inroads into the banks. And at some point, we were like, man, we're never going to cut it. We got into testing with 3 banks, I think NCBA, ABSA, and CDN Bank. But it was just taking so long. So we were like, okay, let's just close the curtain on this one and build something new. But then in that process, there's a small microfinance organization that saw what we had done and really liked it and wanted to use it for their loaning product. So we ended up selling that software for, I think, $80,000
Mm-hmm.
in about a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
So you were happy to sell. You were like, okay, good, just take it. But at least it was a good return after like all that that long period of no revenue, etc.
And where did the now Chpter also now come into the equation? I know Chpter kind of like started like soon after. What was it that you guys had noticed, and what kind of motivated you to now go ahead and pursue it?
Interesting, yeah. So the first version we had, what we saw, the credit scoring solution, was also called Chpter. And of course, to make it sound big, we called it like Chpter Enterprise,
Yes.
right? So you still have those decks. So now when we were saying, okay, we need to now do something else, that period before we sold it, when we were now negotiating, we're like, okay, now we want to just do something for consumers because they're easier to deal with, right? So we now made another version called Chpter for Merchants. So what we noticed on this other side, we noticed that, okay, the business that can use this enterprise product to get a loan, they need to have audited accounts. But then many small businesses do not even have like financial records in the first place. So we're like, okay, let's build something that will help them have financial records, at least so that they can go to a bank and even get a loan, get financing, etc. So that's how we envision Chpter. So when we went down that path, we were like, okay, what's the easiest way to know how a business is doing? Like, what's the easiest way to know the financial health of the business? It's by capturing payments at the point of sale. So if I'm able to capture all your payments, I can create like a 3-statement model for your cash flow, your balance sheet. I can do up to 80%. Right. So we're like, okay, let's create like something that captures payments and records all this data in the back end. But then when we went down that road, we were like, okay, you can't just give someone something that just captures payments. You have to help them put their products online, help them market to their customers. You have to help them, do delivery, all these things. So now what we noticed was we have to develop like storefronts and a whole ecosystem around payments so that we can be able to onboard merchants. So that's how we started just, building. By this time, we were really good developers. So we built the first version of Chpter in like 6 weeks. And then we got a paying customer. It was so nice. The first time we made revenue was like 23 shillings. Just so good in processing fees. Yeah, so we signed up like a business that was selling burgers online. So yeah, that ended up going well. And then we started just adding. In a few months, we'd done like almost 50 businesses. And then now we started of course, now iterating based on the feedback they tell us. So many of them would start telling us, okay, I love your payment solution. We created checkout links that they can use to accept payments online. And then it's linked to a backend where this information is saved. So many of them started saying, why can't you, instead of pasting my Chpter payment link on WhatsApp, why can't you just make me accept payments on WhatsApp? Right? Why can't you just make me accept payments inside Instagram? So now that became what this is for social commerce, assisting businesses to accept payments on WhatsApp, payments on Instagram. And then, of course, WhatsApp and Instagram can become fully serviced customer support channels, right? So if you don't have a website, you can use WhatsApp for your support or Instagram for your support. So now that's how we ended up now layering AI so that if anyone goes into your Instagram and you're not on your phone at that time, the AI can answer questions for you and it can close a sale or give support to someone on your behalf. So that's now how we ended up now building Chpter.
Interesting. I know like a lot of like businesses here, especially if you're looking for either like clothes, shoes, or kind of like other items. People go on Instagram, they first check it out, or they'll talk to someone on WhatsApp. How do you see kind of some people kind of referring to that as conversational commerce? How do you see that market in let's say now for Africa? I know that we'll go into maybe the other touch points, but how do you see it maybe as compared to maybe other markets?
I see. Good questions. I think I've actually mentioned this previously, but conversational commerce is a big part of how we buy and sell just as humans.
Mhm.
So, for instance, the example I usually give is way before there was technology, you would go to the market. If you're going to, if it's a food market or a groceries market, you talk with the buyer like, "Hey, I want some tomatoes, I want some oranges, and I want this," and then they would give you those things. So the buying process was actually very conversational. It's only until when things went online into our website, then you just pick things for yourself in a cart and check out, right? But if you look at Africa, which is a very high context, high context side of the world, let's say Africa and many emerging markets, conversations are really important. What I mean by high context is if you want to say hello, if you want something from someone in Africa, you wouldn't just go and say, "Hey team, give me, can you have a meeting?" That's how people in the West would take it. But here in Africa, it'd be like, "Hey team, how are you doing? How's your family? How's it going? How's church? How was etc." And then I'll be like, "Okay, I think it would be nice if we can meet and catch up soon." So it's high context. People, are a lot more conversational. Exactly before the transaction. So this makes WhatsApp and Instagram really popular tools in this market. Actually, WhatsApp usage in Africa is over 95% of internet users in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa use WhatsApp. For instance, in the US, it's like less than 30%. People still use email, right? So if you look at now WhatsApp in Africa, it means it's a very good channel for people to also like buy and sell because they can still have that conversational experience. So I can still talk to the lady or the guy who I buy my groceries from. How is this? How is this? How is this? Then I say I want this 4, 5, 6 things. Can you be able to like deliver, or do you have them? So WhatsApp is a really good tool to be able to do such, and that's why we were very excited about that space. And now what we went on and did is we can now be able to layer payments there. So instead of like having that transactional part to be very uncomfortable, send payments details, have you been able to see, has the transaction reflected? Now, when you're ready to pay, you can just be able to pay it within the platform.
Oh, without necessarily having too much like friction and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
It's almost like reminds me of like Amazon. They were famous for bringing like the one-click purchasing.
Checkout.
Even now, for example, TikTok, especially like let's say the TikTok algorithm in Asian countries, you tend to see like more live purchasing. So people are live. They're talking about, I don't know, the toys or whatever it is, and people can be able to purchase those products just by seeing that, and give, of course, like gifts to if it's the creators or whoever. At least on that, what has been like the maybe some of the surprising things like you've learned from what customers are like kind of like requesting from you? You said like you're kind of like iterating from based on like their feedback. So what were kind of like the surprising things that you had not even like planned for, pictured? Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Some of the surprising things, even before we get to that, I think one of the things which I realized probably we didn't get right earlier on is it's very important to like segment which customer base you're going after early on. Because now when we were building, the guys would tell us, okay, can you guys integrate a booking flow for me so that my clients can book on WhatsApp? Someone else is like, okay, like, can you guys, I have over 10,000 products. Can you integrate them on WhatsApp for me? Others are like, instead of it being a buy button, can it be a button for request quote? Because probably it's a services business or consulting business, it's easy. So in the beginning, now we had like just we're like, okay, yes, we're listening to customers and we're getting feedback, but there's just so much that they're asking, and we're like, we don't have enough bandwidth on our roadmap to do all these things. And then now you can go ahead, of course, and try and build maybe 60% of those requests, but then you're like, it's not really taking off. So one thing we realized after some time was we really needed to segment our customers and see which segment are we going to go after, so that we can develop Chpter to be the best for them. So one thing we realized was, if you look at the breadth of retail businesses, there's people who sell physical goods, right? So people who sell shoes, clothes, watches, anything, right? There's that segment. And then if you go down that, there's electronics, home decor, cosmetics, etc. And then we also noticed, yes, now online there's people who sell services. So you have your salons, spas, massage parlors, etc., gyms.
Mhm.
Then you also have FMCG, fast moving consumer goods. So you have guys who are selling like milk, bread, all these things. So we looked at all of them, and then we tried to sign up, but now looking at which segment will work more. So what we noticed was, for FMCG, in as much as they have high volume, the margins are very low. So if you charge them a high price at checkout, it's going to like kill their business. So probably you'll try to sell to them. You tell them the price, they're like, they won't pick your call next time. So we started learning why. We looked at services businesses. So services businesses are good, but now they will need a lot of customization. So for instance, if we sign up a barber shop, like a barber shop can have very many different styles of cutting hair. Plus, the person paying, it's very subjective because it's a service. So to me, this can be a good haircut. To someone else, it's not a good haircut. So it's usually very hard to scale. So we settled on those ones who do projects, because on projects, not projects, physical products, because physical products, if you want to just buy that iPad, you just buy it and that's it. There's no negotiation on the price. It's easy to deliver, and also the variants are easy to accommodate. So now once we did that, we actually started, and we said no to other segments. We actually started noticing that our sales started getting more successful, because instead of the sales team now selling to everyone, they'll just be like, okay, fashion and retail businesses have over 30% margins, right? So they're happy to spend even 10% on marketing or on a tool. So we started seeing just like our close rates improving. So I'd say that's one thing we didn't understand until later on. And if someone is listening there and you're going to start a business, it's very important that you segment and know which customer you're going after, and then aim to win that small segment first, instead of like building for everyone. Because if you build for everyone, you're going to get a ton of feedback. But then now what you build, when you incorporate that feedback, is not good enough for everyone. So I'd say that's one of the things we learned.
Yeah, you can't satisfy every person. And what's which kind of like sizes of businesses are these? Are these like small, medium-sized businesses? Are these maybe very large enterprises? What do they encompass?
Yes, I think we noticed most of the success we were seeing from medium-sized businesses, with reason. So the smaller businesses are good. It's easy to sign them up, but then they are not as sticky. So if someone is, say, in their first year of business, they're probably like managing so much. So they probably won't have time to invest in using our product. Or you might find, for one reason or another, maybe they haven't even perfected their product yet or their service. So they will sort of like drop off somewhere. For the large businesses can have a very long sales cycle. So that means like, you need to convince like 6 guys before you get a buy-in from the company. And then probably the switching costs from the switching cost from what they were using before to you is also very high. So because we needed to validate quickly, we said, okay, we won't go after large enterprises initially. So we chose the medium segment. Medium segment, why? So we look at businesses who have been around for at least 3 years. Because now at 3 years, this business is a bit more mature. It has a customer base. They know what they're selling. They know what their customers like. And also we looked for a certain revenue band. So businesses doing at least $5,000 a month. So we know if they're doing at least $5,000 a month, there's a budget there to at least pay $50 on Chpter, right? So $5,000 a month all the way to $50,000 a month. Some do even $50,000, $80,000 a month. So I'd say that's a segment. So it's very important to just see which customer segment will also pay for my product. If you go to the really low, then, of course, those guys are not going to be able to pay, but there are many. So you need to ask yourself, can I distribute this product at a low cost to many people? If the answer is no, then don't even try. Don't even try, because, to distribute something to many people is going to require resources like an on-ground team, a lot of customer support, etc. The other thing we noticed with the medium band is they're a lot more savvy because they've been in business for some time. So they can be able to use our platform. They can be able, they have Wi-Fi, it's just basic things.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's how we went about segmenting and getting our early users.
Interesting. And even what were these what is like some like customer success stories that you're willing to share, that customers came to you and said that you've basically almost saved my business? So, I can't imagine life without you guys.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's very validating when you hear that. So far we've been able to scale Chpter to over 4,200 businesses in Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria. I'd say Nigeria is our second largest market after Kenya. So one of the great testimonials we've had have come from customers like Kicks Kenya. Kicks Kenya is one of the largest sneaker stores in Kenya. So they've been able to see almost a 30x return on their investment by using WhatsApp as a marketing channel.
Wow.
So that means, if you get a campaign on your email, especially your personal email, you probably go there to like just mark as read and leave, right? So the open rate on email is very low. So you're able to get a very high open rate, reply rate, and conversion rate on WhatsApp because that's where many people spend their time. So that's one customer who's really been able to get a lot of utility from WhatsApp. The other one is ALX. So ALX is an edtech company. They take in students, university or just right after high school, and then they get trained on various programs. So the breakthrough with ALX is they get over 5,000 requests on their WhatsApp, and they have like one customer support person, and they're able to handle all those requests with AI, right? So we've been able to give them a WhatsApp channel, which is layered on AI on all their courses, their admission criteria, their orientation, etc. So instead of having like a team, they could have had a team of like 10 people just responding to people on WhatsApp, answering questions. Now they just have AI that does that for them. So they've also really loved the experience with Chpter. The other one, maybe the final one, is Safari Link, one of our customers in the airline industry. So I remember specifically for them, they spent about maybe $80 on a campaign on WhatsApp. And in a weekend, they were able to get almost $3,000 back in sales. So that's, I don't know what X multiple that is, but like, so able to see some really good results.
Mm-hmm. There must be some highly delighted customers. And you also recently announced like a partnership with Flutterwave. Tell us more about that, and what does the partnership entail?
Yeah, so one of the things you can do with Chpter is accept payments on WhatsApp and Instagram. But we were limited to Kenya because, here we've integrated M-Pesa and cards, right? But now someone might want to use this to get signups like in Senegal, in Zambia, in a lot in Nigeria, Ghana. but then they can't use the checkout product on WhatsApp because you don't have local payment rails in those countries. So Flatwave was a really good partnership because with them we can be able to avail WhatsApp checkout on more than 11 countries. So if you're in Egypt, you can just sign up on Chpter, go link your products, and someone can be able to check out and pay on WhatsApp through now the Flutterwave rails. So that was the huge benefit of that. They have an extensive payments and payouts network, and now we've layered that on Chpter so that merchants can accept payments on WhatsApp and Instagram.
Do you see some? You had mentioned like you had some customers like in Nigeria, South Africa, and the rest. Do you see maybe like whether to call it purchasing decisions or maybe the mode of doing business as different in certain countries, or is it kind of like uniform, similar?
I see. I'd say Kenya and Nigeria are a lot more similar. They feel more emerging market. Many businesses are very hungry to grow, so they're willing to try any solution that will get them most sales. If I was to put that on a spectrum, I'd say Nigeria more than Kenya.
Oh, okay.
I think Kenya would need to see a lot more trials or testimonials to try. But in Nigeria, they're like, everyone will give you a chance. You said you'll give me more sales. Okay, I'll try your thing. So they're very quick to uptake things, which is very nice. I'd say for for South Africa is a lot more sophisticated. So if you look at, let's even say like Spotify or anything that was in the US and Europe before it came to Africa, it would launch in South Africa first. So they would say available in US, UK, Europe, Australia, and South Africa. So it's the South African market is used to a lot more sophistication, products, etc. So you'll find it's a lot more competitive as a market. So you'll see probably some of the solutions that are there worldwide will be available there. And then the other thing we noticed with South Africa, in terms of both markets, it has the most vibrant e-commerce. It's very well developed. So in as much as it would be competitive, it can yield the best results if you're able to penetrate because it's very developed.
Interesting. And I know you guys also have a podcast. Can you tell us a bit about the podcast, why it started, what you guys do and stuff?
Yeah, so we started a podcast called Chpter Champions, ideally to show business owners, highlight their journeys and just make it easier for the next person who's going to start like an e-commerce business. What we noticed was certain segments of the industry are usually quite very well covered, or like there's a lot of information. So for instance, like in tech, there's a lot of information there. If you go to, I'd say tech has a lot of information, but then if you go to like just someone is running a traditional business, like their story is never put online, right? And these are some of the businesses which would be on Chpter, right? So if you go to like, banking CEOs, they're always on the screen.
Yeah.
But maybe the CEO of, a business that's in a mall that sells clothes, a local brand, probably the story isn't highlighted as much. So we started Chpter Champions to focus on those guys and just show that it's easy, and there are scars, of course, to building, but just to show that you can also build your own business and somehow Chpter can be part of that journey.
What were some interesting stories that you heard from some of the guests over there?
Or some of the interesting stories? Yeah. Some of the interesting stories. Wow, we've had so many. I think some of the interesting stories we realized like some of these businesses have been around like 10, 15 years. So if they tell you how they started, it's like very humble beginnings. So some would be selling stuff in the back of a car. or others would almost like be hawking like in the 90s. So it's very different to how you'd think starting a business
Today.
today is, right? So I remember like one business owner, I think, from Papinko, selling us for the first like 2-3 years, they used to do all their deliveries with a matatu.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with a matatu. So it was just grueling. I think maybe a year and a half to 2 years, they do all the deliveries like using public transport, which is so hard to do. As in, you can't do that today. There's so many options. Even Uber has a courier service. But it just shows you like these guys, that's what they had to do. They did it and they built very resilient businesses.
Well, I know that it's definitely not simple, especially as you're fighting for space in the car and
Exactly.
trying to
Exactly.
you're trying to take your goods and stuff. I know that Chpter is not the only business that you have. And you also started a business with your wife. What's actually wearing the brand right now? Would you like to tell us more about that?
Oh, yes. So there's a second business we have started with my wife, my partner. Probably 2 out of 6, like I was saying in the beginning, 6 businesses. But this is actually like a very fun project. I think I was speaking about it last week and I was saying it's nice. I saw a quote somewhere. It's nice when you get paid for your creativity.
Yeah.
So I started a business called Batianpeak. Batianpeak is an outdoor gear and sporting goods company, meaning we make like, jackets for hiking, climbing, trail running. So hiking, climbing, camping, trail running. So we started with jackets, but we'll expand even into footwear, trousers, etc. And the inspiration for this was seeing there's no local brand here in Kenya that creates, high quality performance gear. So everything is imported. Um, Decathlon is there from France, and also there's a lot of thrifting. So there's no solution that just is homemade that makes quality gear. So that's what we went after. And also we noticed there's a huge trend towards people wanting to hike and engage with the outdoors, right? Like Kenya is very beautiful. Nairobi specifically, we're lucky because you're always like an hour away to like a really good hike or a very scenic view. So if you think like from Nairobi, it's very easy to go to Naivasha. It's very easy to go to Nanyuki, Nyeri, where you can experience Mount Kenya. Also, the relief in Kenya is high. So a lot of mountainous areas, especially around the central region. Also, it's very easy to go to Kilimanjaro. It's like 3 hours away. So we just saw every year the numbers of people who are hiking and climbing, going up into the mountains, going outdoors is increasing. So we built this brand to take care of that. The other reason why I say it's a very fun project is I personally love jackets. Like I always say, if no one buys our jackets, I'm ready to wear all of them myself. So we want to also create gear that is both functional, but also it's fashionable. So even when you're not hiking, so this rain jacket, for instance, can withstand rainfall for up to an hour. So it's waterproof. I've actually hiked in it, but I can also just wear it on a normal day in Nairobi if it's cold, or if it's an evening and I'm going outside, I can also get to wear it. So it's one of the more fun projects we're doing.
Oh, and that's interesting to know, because I know, like, for example, now most people, it's a big like running culture now. And you could say like people are now looking for like running clothes. Even gym culture is also there. The gym clothes, but maybe catering towards like hiking, more specifically like in Kenya, is not yet, it's not yet addressed. Yeah. And at least on what are some pieces of advice you'd have for founders? Mainly, you had mentioned, of course, about how you kind of like had to quit your job and moved something else, and even how the early days of building Chpter was not particularly, it was not 100% smooth. But so, what kind of advice do you have for uh, other kind of tech founders, or any other kind of founder, really, who's
Um,
building?
Interesting. I think, wow, there's a lot I could say, but I'd say there's two fronts. Of course, on the building side, just make sure you listen to your customers and iterate based on their feedback, so that you're able to build something that people want. But at the same time, maybe it's something you're doing already. But one thing I've realized over the years is you need, if you look at like some of the ingredients or factors necessary to lead to success, there's always like resilience there, or hard work or consistency, etc. But I'd say like resilience is really important when you're building. You cannot be taught resilience. You cannot just acquire it like by reading or anything. You're taught resilience by going through challenges. So I think one advice I can share with fellow entrepreneurs is just know that challenges are going to come. Things are going to be difficult, but we're always inspired by all these guys: Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, because they were so resilient even in hard times. So don't expect that the same won't happen to you. You're going to have very hard times, even like 6 months to a year, where you're not sure if this thing is going to work. But if you stick it out in the storm, you're eventually going to win. So I'd say resilience is a big part of building, and you can't escape it. In some cases, there are companies that just start magically in a year, they're big. Maybe that's like 2% of companies. The other 98, you actually have to go to be very resilient. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, of course, maybe if you go on like social media or something, it's like, oh, I built this business in this few months' time. We're now in X millions of dollars. And it's like, oh my God, I did my first dollar, But,
Yeah.
some of them are not true. Some of them, of course, sometimes when a company grows so fast, it also tends to come down quite
Yeah.
fast. And did also kind of like having that architectural background, did it kind of teach you anything about building a business?
Yeah, it did actually in hindsight. So one thing we used to do in architecture is you would be given a problem you'd solve, like maybe you need to build this certain types of houses. You'd go and build it. But then you always needed to present your work to your professors and your tutors. And now what this built was really good oratory skills, because you needed to present your work to them. So you need to understand first what you're building and present it to them. And the second thing, it also builds that muscle for taking in criticism, which is very important when you're building. Customers are going to call you and complain. Your stakeholders are going to be like, what's going on? Things like that. Like that happens so much in business. So getting used to taking criticism, learning from it, not getting offended, and picking yourself up and building. I think that component was also built in ARC school, because the professor would tell you, man, this here you did not do XYZ. This is a very bad solution. It doesn't work, things like that. And you'd still need to take that feedback and redo it again. So I'd say that really helped, of course, now in building.
That's great. Now, just to end here, some quick fire on questions. What's like a book or podcast that you recently inspired you?
Wow, I think my all-time favorite has to be How I Built This by Guy Raz. I think some really good stories there. Airbnb, Shopify, even retail brands like Patagonia.
Yeah, I also like How I Built This. What's your actually I had not mentioned this, but I know you also like investing as well on the public markets. What's your favorite company? What's your favorite public company today that you've invested in?
I'd say Palantir,
Mhm.
the AI defense company. Of course, now they're going a bit commercial, but really good. I think it's given me almost like a 20x return so far.
Wow.
So very
Bunch of like
excited about that one. Yeah.
And so if you weren't an entrepreneur, which other career do you think you'll be in?
Interesting. I think if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I'd be in finance. I think it's something I love. I think I was telling you sometime I'd like to open an investment company at some point, like a hedge fund or something. So if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I don't know, maybe I'd have tried like a Morgan Stanley or like a investment banking PE thing.
Oh, interesting. And what's the funniest or weirdest customer request that you've received?
Mm-hmm. Wow, the funniest. Wow, that's a hard one. The weirdest. Wow. Wow, I think that's a very difficult one. I'm guessing like, wow, it's a really difficult one. The weirdest. Well, we have received some people, especially larger teams, they ask, can you build a feature for me where I can see exactly what all my employees are doing? So I think that's usually a weird one. And also others have asked if we can be able to like send data from their competitors to them so that they can. So I think this was actually very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who is your favorite entrepreneur that you look up to?
Oh, interesting. It's a hard one. Favorite one. Has to be one.
You can be
do a
more than
couple.
one. Yeah.
Interesting. So I'd say I love Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb. I think I relate to him quite a bit because he also did design.
Yes. Yeah.
In RISD. So I like him a lot. I also like, of course, Elon. The sheer willpower he has is amazing. And I'd say the third one is I also like Jeff Bezos quite a bit. Of course, Steve Jobs is like overall legend, but like I like Jeff Bezos quite a bit, and his obsession with building for the customer.
Yeah, the customer obsession of the day one thinking. Yeah, and it's interesting because he's quite well known for, even in his first, I think it was annual letter or something. A lot of the stuff he had laid out for what Amazon would be.
Yes,
it was there. So
it's true.
Yeah,
I think the more recent one has been Jensen Yang from NVIDIA. It's crazy. I saw a video recently. You're saying like he's building for the next 50 years. This was in like 2002.
Yeah.
As in he was speaking like he knows NVIDIA will be huge. So I think he has done a great job of just being consistently, like buying his time, and now he's like the one who's like probably like on top, like we're all going to be paying him basically. But that future long-term thinking and planning, I think it's remarkable. Yeah,
NVIDIA is literally it's a 30-year success story. And he definitely had a lot of challenges that he had to overcome. But yeah, let's end on that note. And thanks so much for coming, Mark.
Thank you for having me.